Hello and welcome to this bonus episode of Weight Loss 360 with Boots Online Doctor. This is the place where our experts get myth-busting and answer the question everyone wants to know. I'm Helen Thorne, a comedian and podcaster, and today GP David Gwynne, expert in men's health and weight loss, is going to deep dive into alcohol. We've all done it before. We've all had our 20s, David. We're going straight into the trough. Come on.
However appealing that sounds, Helen, but thank you very much for the introduction. Yeah, it's great to be with you again. I want to talk about alcohol in a bit more detail. We've touched on it in various other topics through this series, and I just think we need to dedicate some time to alcohol specifically in a bit more detail, just so that we can understand why perhaps we need to think about it a bit more. So I'm going to go through sort of some of the societal sides of things, again, some of the way that it works on the body itself, and some of the perhaps the unintended consequences of alcohol consumption and our weight loss journeys. So let's talk about alcohol itself then. It's a sugar.
Right.
It's essentially all it is.
Yeah.
It breaks down into ethyl alcohol, which is a type of sugar eventually, and it gets stored as a fat in your body because it generates this insulin response again. We keep hanging on about this, Helen, don't we? But that's the root of all evil.
I will remember. I've written it down. Insulin. Right. Good.
So the alcohol basically will get converted into fat eventually in your body. And it's got a really interesting metabolic effect when you consume it, in that it switches off your body's ability to burn fat. So if you've been working hard all week to lose weight, you're burning fat, you're in that catabolic state, you're doing well with the ketosis bit, you're burning fat, and then you drink alcohol, you're just going to switch that off. And it will force fat storage, essentially, is what drinking alcohol does. So you'll find that unintended, that no matter how hard you try, then it'll take time for your body to switch back then to be able to burn fat, because by definition you're forcing it down that line of storing it. And they're empty calories. There's no benefit to drinking alcohol. We can talk about the social lubricant on the other sides of alcohol and the benefits it have that way. We all enjoy it in moderation. But it has no nutritional value. Empty calories are basically calories that have no nutritional value to them at all. They contain energy, but they don't contain nutrition. So your body can't do much with it, really. So you're consuming these empty calories and you're blocking your ability to break down fat for the short period whilst you're drinking it for a bit afterwards. What else does it do to you? Well, alcohol, we all know, loosens your inhibitions. And that's part of why we use it. It has its social function. But the reality of that is that it can impact your food choices. Again, if you've been working hard all week to make the right choices and be doing the things that you want to do, at the end of the day, this is a choice, right? Mm-hmm. You know, losing weight is a targeted choice of something that you want to do. And if you want to drink alcohol, that's absolutely fine, but do so fully aware of how it's going to affect your journey. So if you want to include alcohol in your journey, that's fine, but be aware that it might impact your choices. Okay, you might find it more difficult to make the good choices that you've been making all week. You may find that those salty, sweet, fatty snacks that you've been avoiding all week may become a little bit harder to do so and may impact on your outcomes. Now, that's fine if it's a choice and it fits into where you want it to, but just be aware that that's what it does. It's inevitable.
And it's that knock-on effect, because I'll have one glass of wine and then another one and then the third one and then the crisps come out and then you get the kebab and then the next one you're like, I need something to soak up the wines. And then you have the bacon sandwich. And as you say, it's just that sort of knock-on effect. You're like, and then you feel bad and then you get so it's that cycle. So, yeah.
It's really interesting. You mentioned about the next day. There's some studies been out there that have been shown that the average overconsumption after a day of consuming alcohol can be up to about 9,000 calories. So just adding that single evening of drinking can spill over into having quite a damaging effect on the hard work that you've been doing. Yeah. So again, we're all adults, we can make choices, but just be aware that this is what it can do for you. Just be aware that it might set things back a little bit for you in the short to middle term whilst you're trying to maintain that weight loss and journey that you're on.
And also, hangovers get worse the older you get. Is that right, David? I need a medical opinion, because I'm like, this hangover's lasting 2 days.
I don't know about the research, Helen, but it's certainly true in my experience. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Confirmed, listener, confirmed.
So how can we avoid these sorts of things then? So it's planning ahead, right? It's planning ahead. And again, we don't want to patronise our audience here and people that are listening, but it is just about thinking, right, okay, so how do I navigate this social event without consuming the alcohol in the way that I may have done previously? You know, it's about pre-planning, making choices, taking something with you perhaps that's non-alcoholic, interspersing those alcoholic drinks with non-alcoholic drinks in between. How did it work for you, Helen?
I found that just still having things like having fizzy water in wine glasses, but also choosing things like non-alcoholic beers, they taste really good these days. They're really good. And still having a drink when there's a round of beers or a round of wine, but just maybe having fizzy water with my rosé or things like that, just really introducing more water. I think that's it, because I'm a social girl. I love my alcohol, but I also know that nothing feels better than waking up without a hangover. And it's annoying how not drinking can make you feel good. I think during COVID, it was a particularly hard time for alcohol consumption because, we'd have like Zoom parties and I was drinking at home alone. So I no longer drink at home alone if I've got friends over, of course. But as you say, because it can be a really big part of your friendship group or going to the pub or going out to the football or whatever. And we're not saying don't have any more fun. We're just saying just have that balance.
It's about having that sort of inner confidence as well, right? Which isn't
Yes.
easy to have, but to say you're choosing not to have that alcoholic drink in that occasion because it doesn't align with your intentions. And that's okay.
Yeah.
All right? There's all that huge pressure around, everyone else is drinking alcohol. I really need to conform here. Actually, do you know what? Sometimes it's okay to look somebody in the eye and go, oh, no, I don't want an alcoholic drink here. Actually, I've got other things I'm trying to achieve, but thank you.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you got that inner dialogue sometimes that's way louder than it needs to be, telling you should drink. You don't have to. It's a choice.
Absolutely. And it goes again, like if your friend said that to you, you wouldn't go, oh, no, we can't be friends anymore. You go, no, I'm here for you. I'm going to support you on this. This is not about me. And I think sometimes even doing swaps, like when you're catching up with friends who you always like, oh, we'll get a bottle, go for a walk, have a walking day or something like that where you both benefit. I've certainly learnt a lot this episode. Thank you, Dr. David. Now, have you got some final bits of advice, some top tips for the listener?
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, it's been a pleasure being with you today. Nice to talk about this stuff. Yeah, so for everybody who's out there thinking about this, look, make alcohol a conscious choice. The use of it is a conscious choice. We're all grown adults, but just be aware of the impact it can have and the consequences that it can have for you and what you're trying to achieve.
Weight Loss 360 is a fresh air production with Boots Online Doctor. The producer is Ollie Seymour. Next week, in our last episodes for this series, we'll be going in depth on overcoming obstacles and also bringing a final bite-sized episode all around how to navigate social events and enjoy yourself without feeling too guilty. Thanks for listening today. Don't miss any of the other wonderful chats, advice and tips as you continue on your weight loss journey. Remember to follow Weight Loss 360 wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, check out Boots' online Doctor Weight Loss service for a whole load of other amazing advice and free resources, including a weekly live webinar where our experts can answer your questions. The information shared here is evidence-based to help you achieve and maintain weight loss. However, if you have any health concerns or questions, please consult your GP before making any changes to your diet or lifestyle. Remember, every small change is a big step towards a healthier, happier you.